Lesson 72 is definitely a doozy, like with a capital D. Big. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. This lesson, every time I like turn around today, it's biting me in the ass because I didn't realize how many times you try to hold a grievance against somebody, or like you're not thinking about something that's annoying you and then all of a sudden you are again, and you're focusing on what somebody said or did, or you know, what their body did or whatever. But yeah, dang, like I just keep on being like, oh, here I go again, trying to hold another freaking grievance. And I guess I should just I'm just like, okay, here we go again. Oh, I did it again. I'm like wowsing how many times I'm doing this, because actually just somebody pissed me off yesterday. So do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, whoa, this is a good lesson. All right. So, this was a 3-page lesson. Like, wow. So that's how big this is. In my book, it says it's a key lesson. In this version, in this book here, it like will have like certain ones have key versions, and then some of these is in bold. You know, not all publishers do it this way. Yeah, I'm tired. What's up? So holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. And I'm tired. So I just want to connect those two. I really feel like when we hold grievances too, we are attacking God's plan for salvation. And then we're like attacking ourselves, and we're like, yeah, this is like, maybe just observe yourself. Like when you do this, when you're mad at somebody in your head, are you exhausted? Does it literally exhaust you? Yeah, because it's not good for you. All right, so anyways, this was a very deep lesson. It went into like, you know, that the body is not real, basically, and it talked all about that. And holy man, it was so, it's such a big deal. And then we're supposed to quiet down and say, where is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. Like, we're literally getting into the practice now of asking and then listening for our guidance. So it's a great day. Like, even though I'm a little bit tired, I feel like that's serving me just to like make me want to close my eyes because they're burning. Because I'm like this and they're burning. And you know, so good, Sadie, close your eyes and talk to God, listen for God. And I did a little bit this morning, and I should have like wrote down immediately like what I felt like I received, because if you don't write it down, it's gone. So you got to write it down. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? So yeah, it's like anytime you feel like you want to attack somebody, just close your eyes, and basically in your own words, you can say too, like, help me understand this, you know? What is this salvation that I need to understand? What is this forgiveness that I need to understand? How do I let this grievance go? Help me understand, you know? And when you ask, you receive, but you gotta shut the F up and listen. All right, here's Jesus. So lesson 72, Jesus was all like, do you gossip? Do you tell stories about people? Like, these are tendencies that we definitely could change about ourselves, because gossiping, telling stories, being a little ticked off, that's holding grievances. Anytime we see other people in bodies, really, I guess that's a grievance too. Anyways, Jesus was saying, you need to learn a new language, okay? And so how do you do that? Well, you have to start observing yourself by witnessing you. So like today, I'm witnessing and observing myself. Oh, here I go again, trying to hold a grievance or justify the wrongness of somebody's actions. Okay, well, it's okay that it's actually good for you to observe yourself doing this, because then you can start to see that you have two parts of your consciousness, the one that's evolved and one that's unevolved. So the one that's attacking, holding a grievance, that's the unevolved ego. The one who's watching, you're watching yourself think these dumbass thoughts. You're witnessing you by the big you. Okay, so then you start to see that there are two parts of your consciousness. You've got your evolved observer, the one that's in awakening, the one that can tap into the Holy Spirit, unconditional love, forgiveness, the one that can hear God, the one that is watching the unevolved part of your consciousness. Now that's your ego. That's how you can tell the difference. The ego's in the battleground, separation, war, duality, attacking, judging, gossiping, telling stories. So start watching yourself, start observing yourself, and start witnessing yourself so you can see these two parts of your consciousness and learn a new language, the language of the witness, the language of the observer, the language of the big you. Well, that came together nicely. Good job, Sid. Good taking them notes. All right, so anyways, yeah, I've been observing myself, witnessing myself. At times that can be frustrating because you're like, but then it's interesting too, because you're like, there, I almost slipped into that bitch again. Yeah, you almost slipped into your ego again. The one who wants to attack and, like, you know, get back and gossip and, you know, be like, okay, so I am justified being mad at him because he said this and did that. Right? That's your unevolved self. Your evolved self is watching you do this. And have you had this experience? Like, you become aware of yourself thinking a repetitive thought. Okay, that awareness is your observer, your witness, your big you, your greater self, capital S self. And that's the you that can observe and detach and be like, oh, I see this playing out. And that's the part of you that's going to be able to forgive and love and awaken and all that good stuff. So that's a good homework assignment for you. Start to notice these two parts of your consciousness. All right, let's take a little stroll down Pathways of Light. Pathwaysoflight.org. Welcome to the reading, A Course in Miracles, Workbook Lesson 72, Insights. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. This lesson is one of the clearest places in the Course where it demonstrates that the Course's thought system is diametrically opposed to the thinking of this world. The thinking of the world reflects the projected belief that God made the body. Yet in this lesson, it says that not only did he not make the body, but he could not, because he cannot create unlike himself. The statement that as long as the body is the center of our concept of ourselves, we are attacking God's plan for salvation has been a real eye-opener to me. I am seeing that thinking I am a body is an attempt to defy God and be what God did not create me to be. Identifying myself with a body inevitably leads to grievances. For if I am a body, then everyone I see with the body's eyes is also a body. What bodies do then exemplifies what they are in this thought system. Whether or not I am pleased with what they do, just believing they are a body, a separate identity, is an attack on the unity of God. I may think I am not holding a grievance towards someone, but if I am regarding them in my mind as a separate identity, I am insisting that my brother is not what God created him to be. This belief in separate identities shows me that I am still holding a grievance against God. The idea that I am not a body, that the body is outside me, that no one is a body is far-reaching. Take away the body and all the images associated with the body, the behavior, the personality characteristics, the sense of individuality, and what is left? The ego would say nothing. God says everything. All that we are has nothing whatsoever to do with the body. To be without a body is our natural state. To be love and nothing else is our natural state. To be unified with all that is real is our natural state. I am coming to see that all my grievances, my upsets about anything that occurs, are just projections of the grievance against God that the body represents in the ego thought system. I want peace. I want happiness. To experience this, I must learn to see beyond the body to the light that I share with all that is real, to the light of God in all things. This is letting go of grievances. This is forgiveness. This is going through the clouds to the light. Today, I acknowledge that it is my will to see the light in everyone and see it as part of me. The Course tells me that when I join with the ego thought system, I am joining with the wish to replace God. The body is the ego's principal tool to hide God from my awareness. The more I focus on the body and what the body does, the deeper I go into the ego's thought system. The ego's plan for salvation is to forget reality and replace it with a world where everything is separate and alone, made so by image making. This image making gives the appearance that individual bodies are all that is real. The bodies have individual stories of birth and death, of conflict and war with other bodies. The stories include bodies in competition with each other, winners and losers, success and loss. God's plan for salvation is to let go of all this. God's plan for salvation centers on a return to the truth through the Holy Spirit, which is in everyone's mind. The Holy Spirit teaches that the body is not what I am, or ever was, or ever will be. The Holy Spirit teaches me to remember that I am spirit, the spirit of love. The Holy Spirit teaches me that everyone is that same spirit of love. The Holy Spirit teaches me that when I focus on individual personalities and make it real in my mind, this is the same as trying to replace God. It is holding a grievance against my true nature. The Holy Spirit shows me day by day how to let this image making go. The Holy Spirit reminds me again and again that the stories of individuality are not true. The Holy Spirit helps me lay these stories down. These stories always lead to conflict and can never bring true happiness. They never bring peace of mind. My salvation lies in being willing to lay the stories down. They were just a barrier to my remembering the truth that all is spirit, the spirit of love. Love is one. Love is all. I need not try to replace it with false stories of separate identities. Herein lies my salvation. Herein lies my true and eternal happiness. Have you ever had an argument with someone when that person wasn't there to take part in it? That is what I did this morning. I imagined a whole conversation, both sides of it, and then argued with the absent person and became angry with him. When I stopped and thought of what I was doing, I didn't know whether to laugh or what. It is not the first time I've done that, but this time it really made me aware of how illusory my grievances are. To make the whole situation even sillier, I was upsetting myself over an imagined $5. This made me realize how cheaply I am willing to sell my peace. I took the situation to Holy Spirit and asked how I could have salvation instead. I was blessed with the realization that I wasn't angry with the absent person at all. I was just using that person's persona as a mirror, which showed me my own faults. I was seeing in that person what I really recognized in myself. I insisted it was the other person's faults because I didn't want to accept that it is really me that I don't like. I also realized that my vehemence was caused by my fear of recognizing myself in this other person. I don't want to be that kind of person. I would rather think he is like that instead of me. I was then reassured that it is okay to recognize this behavior because this isn't really me either. It is a behavior I might have identified with, but it isn't me. Who I am is unassailable. What I sometimes act like is just something to change my mind about. The greatest blessing in this is that now I don't have to be afraid of what I think I am, so I don't have to attack the person I imagine is showing me this picture of myself. Where there is no fear, there is no need for attack. I feel so blessed that Holy Spirit used this silly little incident to show me another way to live. pathwaysoflight.org. Are you still here? All right, you did a good job. Here, have a cookie. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for cookies, okay? So, simple question. Do you want cookies or not? All right, so if you like cookies, I like cookies, we all like cookies, we all love God's plan for cookies, then we need to quit holding grievances. I should have just ended it there. All right, so anyways, anything else that we need to do? What the craziest part is just like even kind of acknowledging that anybody's in a body is holding a grievance. And I really like the part where it said, you know, like, okay, so like, say my friend said some shit about me and I don't feel like it's true, so I'm like justifying, I want to attack back, I'm like pissed that he even said that, you know. I am not doing him a service. Where did it say? The first page. A person says something you do not like. He does something that displeases you. Okay, let's just imagine here. He betrays his hostile thoughts and his behavior. Okay. You are not dealing here with what the person is. On the contrary, you are exclusively concerned with what he does in a body. See, this lesson talks about how like not being in a body is our natural state. Like, this is not our natural state. Like, this is not who we are. Not at all. Not one bit. Okay, so when I'm concerned about what someone else is doing in their body or what they did or said with their body to me, I am doing more than failing to help him and freeing him from the body's limitations. I am actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. So if I want to help people reach salvation and understand who the fuck they really are, I need to quit holding grievances. I'm literally holding them to their body when I judge them. So I want to help people free themselves from their limitations. So that means I need to go with God's plan, and I have to understand and observe myself and catch myself. Anytime I'm holding a grievance, I'm attacking God's plan. So you are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. I got to stop seeing people as bodies. Okay? Because when I do that, I attack God. So anyways, then this was that lesson that was like saying like, well, if you think God's a body, like you're just like, this had some sarcasm in it. But it was to help us see that what the ego does, how the ego tricks you, thinking that you're a body, everything depends on your body, you only exist if you're in a body. That's what the ego wants you to think. No, that is not true. That's maybe the ego's truth, because when we're done with this body, we're done with our egos too. So anyways, get to know the real you, because that's what's everlasting. And that's your big you, and that's your true self. So again, just to carry on a little bit longer, because I love making extra long videos. The light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. The body is outside of us and is not our concern. So does this mean I do not have to go to the dentist anymore? Like only if I bust a tooth? I think so. I'm just so fucking done with this body. To be without a body is to be in our natural state. So our natural state is not in a body. You are a spirit. You are light. You are energy. You are the light of truth as God created you. So anyways, it's a friggin' massive lesson, lesson 72. I hope you have a book by now. If not, think about getting yourself one. Or you can read it online, or you can listen online. There's lots of links in the description. But yeah, this one is like maybe one that you want to go over a few times. And then the big thing to do is sit and be quiet and listen for your answers. All right, sounds good to me. All right.